Good day. Today we are going to learn about like terms. So I thought I'd come into my garden and show you a little bit about what that means. So here I have some kale flower. Okay, there's some like kale plant. And so there's, I don't know how many flowers on here. So can be considered one term. Okay. I have here a chive, which is a herb, and I can eat it. So this term, okay, and this are very different. So you can't count them the same way, right? Like this one has flowers and this one does not. So if I have another kale flower and there's, let's see, four flowers that are bloom here. Let's see if you can see me here. And then this flower has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So there's 11 flowers on this one and 4 flowers on this one. So one like term, you can actually combine these, okay, to add it to this one, this chive, right? So this can be considered as, we'll use this as A, and this is considered as B. So there's 4B and then 11B. So when you combine 4 plus 11, what's that, 15? So you can go 1, I guess A is 1B, 1A, and then 15B. So you're combining these two terms together. So similar in math, you'll have A's. We can have multiple of these chives, see, to get 3A, okay, and with the kale flowers, these are B. So you cannot add A and B together because they're not the same. Okay, same with math. If there's an X and there's a Y, you cannot add X and Y together. You can only add X's together or Y's together, kind of thing. Okay. So here are my examples when on the board as like terms. So when you have 4x and a 5x, similar to my kale, they're the same, okay, because they have the same x's. So this, if you want to add these together, that will become 9x, okay. When you see something like this, 3x squared plus x, okay, this is like chives, and this is like the flower. They are not the same, okay, because this here is very different than this, okay. Have different combinations. So a times a, okay, or a squared, okay, a cubed, or a divided by 3, okay, or you can see that as a divided by 3, or a times a times a, or 1/3 a. Okay. Oops. These are all different types of terms, and so what looks the same? Okay, what are the same? So when you look at these, a times a is similar, it's the same as a squared. So they're the same groups, okay? A cubed is the same as a times a times a, okay? Obviously this one here is the same as a divided by 3, it just looks differently and written differently. But this is essentially the same thing as well, because a goes on top, becomes an a over 3. Okay, so when we have like terms, you want to add them together or group them together so that you can simplify each like term. So how do you group them together, or how do you add them together? So if I had using b as a variable plus 2b, okay, plus 3y plus y, how do you group them together? Okay, you simplify them by adding them together if they're similar terms. Okay, so if I had b plus 2b squared, they're not similar terms. This b is not the same as this. Okay, so how I would simplify this one above would be you would add these together, so it'd be 3b plus, add that together because they're the same, one letter, 3y plus 1y is 4y. So that's how you simplify this right here. But if it's something like this, when there's the term is b squared, and you have, say, 3y plus 3y squared, these are not the same. So you cannot simplify this unless you have another, b plus another b squared. Therefore, you could add this together to this to simplify to 2b. Okay, you can simplify from b squared here becomes 3b squared, but then you leave the other two because they are not the same. This variable and this variable are not the same. So it's your turn to practice like terms.